Hello and welcome to 4Minds. Today's video is what is borderline personality disorder, BPD. Borderline personality disorder is a serious mental illness affecting your emotions and thoughts. Borderline personality disorder is the inability to handle emotions effectively. Usually having a problem with your attitude, your beliefs and your thoughts, and even the way you act and your behaviours. There is a list for BPD, and usually if you have 5 or more of these symptoms, it could mean you have borderline personality disorder, though it's not always the case. It's usually the severity of the symptoms. There is a misconception for BPD suggesting that you might be a bad person because of the way you act. You could be over angry or over happy, and then it just all crashes, which of course it doesn't mean you are a bad person, but it's also sometimes misdiagnosed for bipolar disorder, which could delay treatment and help. Not everyone understands what BPD is, and like I said, it's just the inability to handle your emotions. Instead of it being a steady line for a certain emotion, it could be skyrocketing or going down instead, just like with depression and mania. It is a borderline between psychosis and neurosis as well. BPD could be stopping you from living your life normally, mainly because it can affect relationships. A lot of people with BPD have quite an unstable relationship, even with friends or family or your partner. It takes a lot of work to be able to make a relationship work when having BPD, just with the mood swings and not being able to handle the emotions. When I was talking about the 5 or more symptoms, it could just be your personality traits rather than actually having BPD. Because of the severity of it, the causes for it could be like bad childhood, it's just who you are, genetic, and even stress can make it worse as well. Instead of being slightly stressed, you might be pushed over the edge with depression and anxiety. One of the causes I mentioned was childhood. It is usually developed through abuse when being a child, like sexual abuse, physical abuse, being in distress, or just general fear, even getting neglected as a child as well. But not very often it's because of losing a parent or a loved one or anything like that. It is usually because of physical or sexual abuse. But it could also be family instability as well. Like if you've got an alcoholic in the family, like say for example it's your mother, then they're going to be a lot more aggressive, or you have to take care of them at such a young age. It can, not knowing what to do with them emotions or how to care, it can often lead to BPD. There are some things to help with borderline personality disorder. Like when you're feeling a certain emotion, for example, you feel angry, then you would do something to vent that anger out, to try and calm you down. Like if you've got a punching bag, punch the punching bag. If you've got paper, try and rip in the paper up. The safest route is often the best, even if it's just a little bit of venting. And always, if you've got a positive emotion, if you feel happy, then do something as best you can to emphasise that emotion. Even relaxing, to sit down, have a cup of tea, and just try and focus on what you feel, and try and sort them out in like a list in your head of what you feel the most, and try and manage that effectively. And last but not least, try and have a mood diary. When you feel a certain emotion, or if it feels kind of emphasised more than it should be, then try and write them emotions down, like what time, how bad it is, what emotion you are feeling, and how you are going to manage it. I think a mood diary is quite effective in some ways, especially if you start seeing a therapist or a psychologist. You can show the work you've tried to put in already, and then they've got something to read to help you further that management of your emotions. I got diagnosed with this about 6 years ago now, and I didn't know what to think when I got diagnosed with it. I didn't know what it really meant. I didn't really get any help with it, because I was dealing with other things like hallucinations, hearing voices and things like that. So I was just diagnosed with this kind of as a starting point, but then later everything kind of fell apart in my life, and I had to rebuild there, so I didn't get any help with it straight away. But thankfully now, 6 years later, I'm actually getting proper help for it now, as well as getting diagnosed with dissociation. But I have managed to build a family. I've got my girlfriend and I've got my daughter. So BPD doesn't always mean you are unhappy. Even I do feel depressed quite a lot of the time. Doesn't mean you have to have an unstable relationship. Things can be positive, things can be good. Just got to keep that in mind. There is a lot to borderline personality disorder, but I'll leave the links in the description to check out my sources and just to have a read through it yourself and look at the different ways other people have managed their emotions. It's always worth a read on even just wanting to learn more, or just if you are getting diagnosed with it or you have been diagnosed with it and you're struggling. It's always good to read up on what your diagnosis is. Right, that's it for this video. Been a bit of a difficult one. It's probably going to be a short video if I didn't rant on too much. Just don't forget to visit the 4Minds website, www.4minds.co.uk, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. I have purple hair. Feels so good, but it's so messy.